In the tower lane, Billy, it's the SSP Kenner Dragster. Jim Booker, 33-year-old Cincinnati, Ohio veteran, with a best time of 6:07, 236 miles per hour, turned to Gainesville, Florida at the Gator Nationals. This machine held the national record, Billy, and it is Chevrolet powered. That's what's so fantastic about this incredible machine.
6-0 times are nothing new for Jimmy Booker in the tower lane as he brings up the SSP Kenner machine in lane number 2. And now remove the tow push bar off the back of the car. In lane number 1, Gene Domogowski has come off the roller starts and is under power. Goodyear tires supply the bite for lane 2. M&H Racemaster setting on the rear of the Frito Bandito spectator lane.
500 cubic inches of Chrysler in the spectator lane, going up against 454 cubic inches of aluminum Chevrolet in the tower lane.
And here come the burnouts in the tower lane. Booker up on the hides, and now in lane 1, Domogowski. And Jimmy Booker's Goodyears really grew on that burnout tower lane.
Boy, oh boy, Billy, look at the difference in configuration. Jim Booker running the high, lean spoiler high over the midsection of his machine. Gene Domogowski in the Frito Bandito has the heavier spoiler set at a much lower angle of attack directly over the rear wheels.
Jimmy Booker tower lane bringing the SSP Kenner machine back. A great looking car that runs every bit as good as it looks. Domogowski, lane number 1, sitting down in the cockpit, ready to bring that car up. Very, very patiently ready for this qualifying run. Booker tower lane, Thundermaker Chevrolet, capable of 5-second runs. And in lane 1, Domogowski, best ever 6.30.
The big 2,000 horsepower thoroughbreds of drag racing. Moving up to the starting line, Frito Bandito, spectator lane is stayed. The SSP Kenner rail, tower lane stayed. Out of the gate, the Frito Bandito moves. Booker blows a supercharger right out of the gate, exploding the engine. Frito Bandito, your winner, spectator lane.
In lane number 1, the Frito Bandito of Gene Domogowski goes through at 6:47, 234 miles per hour, and boy, did lane 2 Booker ever let go. Oh, wow.
Boy, he really absolutely exploded that machine, Billy. $7,500 worth of engine, supercharger, and injectors laying all over the racetrack.
And a path of oil from start line to finish line. Oh boy, did Booker ever let that one go. That was an unreal explosion and had to equal the blower that was kicked here earlier in the season by Mike Burkhart machine driven by David Ray. That is Heartbreak City, a 454 aluminum motor Chevrolet, just launched and down the drain, and you can believe that Booker has got nothing left in that engine that will be salvageable. He lost it all. He even had pieces of that machine come up over the back of the roll cage and looked like it was laying down on top of his helmet. So Booker really kicked a motor on that charge.
So ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we're going to have about a 15-minute break here while we get the racetrack all cleaned up, because that's probably the longest path of oil we've had in the 1972 and 73 season. So while we have this little brief break here, why don't you go to the comfort station or stop by and get yourself a snack or something to drink. We'll give you a 5-minute call prior to the continuation of the races.
And Ben, that's as bad as an explosion on a dragster that I have ever seen. He really launched that engine. And of course, as I think the blower went first, and as the blower went, it just shoved everything down, kicked the whole motor apart. And now Dick LaHaye is going to be faced with an unenviable task of having to charge down the racetrack in that lane. Hopefully we'll be able to get the oil streak fairly well cleaned up so that he will not have any serious problems. The rice hulls that we use to put down on the racetrack should do an extremely good job of cleaning it up. It's not a heavy path of oil, it's just a streak, but it could make things a little bit precarious for the next car up in that lane, Dick LaHaye. We'd like to remind you, race fans, that the goodie booth here on the tower side of the racetrack is open, and you'll find a lot of items on sale in the goodie booth. Today they have such things as adult long sleeve US 30 sweatshirts for $3. They're normally $4. Kids US 30 sweatshirts for $2.50, normally $3.50. Adult racing jackets, and here's a great savings. Adult nylon racing jackets for $5, regular $7. Kids racing jackets, $3.50, regular $6. Coca-Cola beach pants, $2 a pair, regular $3. Decals, any assortment you wish, 5 for $1, and they have such top manufacturer decals as XL, HPI, Speed Pro, Schaefer, Weber, Edelbrock, Dodge, Plymouth, VHT, US 30, San Antonio Raceway, and more. An assortment of decals, 5 for $1. They also have Kenner toys, 3 for $1, and those toys are Spyro Tot, Sailing Wedge, and Double Hoop. Those 3 normally sell for $1 a piece. You can get all 3 for $1 today. So a lot of great items on sale, Goody Booth Tower side. Make sure you check them out. Find something in there for yourself from today's racing, and if it's a little cool on you out there today, a sweatshirt or nylon windbreaker jacket would certainly come in handy.
And ladies and gentlemen, while we have a break in the action, all you youngsters, if you'll get out your little SSP catalog, we'll give you the winning number, and you can go in the spectator side to the crossover building and pick up your winnings. On the tower side, you can go to the Goody Booth, which is the orange and white building just down track of the tower here. So if all you youngsters will get out your little SSP catalogs, we'll give you the winning number. And the winning number today is any number ending in 2. Any youngster with an SSP catalog with a number ending in 2, go to the crossover building on the spectator side and to the Goody Booth here on the tower side and pick up your Kenner SSP toy, courtesy of the Kenner SSP Company and Jimmy Booker and the SSP Dragster.
And Ben Dick LaHaye's down on the starting line now, walking along lane 2 with the fire suit on. He's taking a look at the track, trying to figure out exactly to him what he's going to have to do for his qualifying run. And of course, it is an important run. It's not just a match race type setup. They are running for extra money today. The further you go, the more you win. So he has to get qualified here. It's going to be a very important thing. The flip of the coin probably has already been made, and his lane is decided for him. So Dick has a very tough task upcoming in lane number 2.
And Dick walking back, just shaking his head, Billy, knowing that he's really has his work cut out. An incredible driver, Dick LaHaye. He came here to US 30 for the first time and put away 4 of the toughest national touring cars in the United States.
Dick's done a very good job every time he's been here at US 30 this year. He has just been exceptional. Race fans, you get down in here in the pit area and you'll get a look at Booker's car, and man, did he ever lunch it. Jimmy is one very unhappy young man. We'd like to ask you not to get too close because Jim is going to need some room to work on the car. So don't get up too close to the race car. Give him plenty of room, but it would be a good idea if you did take the opportunity to at least get close enough to get a look at that lunch motor. He really kicked one bad on that run in the tower lane. But please give him enough room because Jim will definitely need it. And besides that, right now he's probably not in too great a mood. So don't antagonize the young man. He's definitely got a tough situation to have to handle with.
Well, Billy, I guess it looks like the track is about ready, so we will be getting underway in about 2 or 3 minutes. So those of you that have gone off to get yourself some refreshments, we'd like you to know that in about 2 or 3 minutes we'll be back at it as Bobby Kerr comes up in his little street sweeper, having put the machine down the track. And boy, that's really a handy thing to have today, isn't it?
Boy, it certainly is. Today's the day where we've needed it. And of course, if the fans noticed, the red truck was used to go down the track and sprinkle the rice hulls on the racetrack. Then it was drugged through with a broom, and then the sweeper came down and worked it into the asphalt. Luckily, the trace of oil was not heavy, so therefore it could be very well cleaned up, and Dick LaHaye may not have any serious problem. Well, only time will tell us that, but he will get a good shot at it, and you can be assured the touring professional, top-line fuel dragster pilot that he is, he will give it all that it's worth in that car. LaHaye is the kind of guy that can go out and run a 615 to a 620 with no problems, and he just might be ready for one of those here this afternoon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, on the roller starts, 2 of the great National Touring AA fuel dragsters attempting to qualify. Remember, the low winning elapsed time moves into the number 1 position. The low overall elapsed time into the number 2 position. These 2 machines meet in the finals.
In lane number 1, the car on the right side of the roller starts. looking from the timing tower will be the car coming up in the right lane, Marvin Schwartz from Clearwater, Florida. Al Sedita, the mechanic on the car. This guy has been at it for many moons. He started with Big Daddy Don Garlitz in 1961, and now he's one of Garlitz's biggest nemesis. They met in the final at Tulsa at the PRA meet. Marvin Schwartz fell in that final run, but he ran 6 elapsed times before Garlitz could take him out. In lane number 1, one of the great drag racers of all time, Marvin Schwartz.
In the tower lane, it's 31-year-old Dick LaHaye, the quiet man, in his 7th blown-fuel dragster of his career, 473 cubic inches of Sid Waterman Chrysler.
Schwartz in lane number 1 with a 520-inch Dodge on his burnout. And now comes LaHaye, tower lane. Do you believe 520 cubic inches on a 3/4-inch arm on Marvin Schwartz's machine in lane 1? If you don't understand drag racing paraphernalia or drag racing terminology, the 520-inch arm means that he has a big, or the 3/4-inch arm means that he has a big crank in that machine, 3/4-inch extra lift on it, and he is really putting out some cubic inches that in conversion figure out to be tremendous horsepower. So he should have probably about, probably 2,200 horsepower to work with on that machine in lane 1, Ben.
That is the biggest engine in drag racing, Billy. There's only 2 other people running that engine, and Marvin Schwartz is running it in a dragster. Barry Setzer runs it in a funny car.
Marvin sitting down there very patiently waiting for Dick LaHaye, tower lane, to back up. LaHaye looked like he tried to straddle the oil streak tower lane on the burnout. He is now ready. Dick LaHaye, tower lane, Marvin Schwartz, spectator lane.
And look at the way that Marvin Schwartz has those wheels cantered in, Billy. We don't see very many people that try that configuration on a dragster. Marvin does things differently. And on green, Marvin makes the move. He's got one open on LaHaye. LaHaye is after him, straddling the oil at the finish line. Marvin Schwartz, spectator lane.
Marvin Schwartz in the spectator lane with the quickest time so far at 6:42. 6:42, 225 miles an hour for Schwartz in the spectator lane.
Dick LaHaye, second best in the tower lane at 6:53 and a top mile per hour, 226 miles per hour. So in the number 1 position, Marvin Schwartz from Clearwater, Florida. 6:42, 225. Meeting him in the finals, the Frito Bandito at 6:47, 234 miles per hour.
And Ben, a great job done by Dick LaHaye in the tower lane. He had to worry about the oil. You could see down here on the front end of the racetrack, he was thinking about it. The car really started thundering top end. I don't believe the oil gave him any problems whatsoever. It looks like it was well cleaned up by the US 30 crew. So LaHaye was a little bit too cautious on the run. It kept him from getting qualified, and the final once again will give us Frito Bandito and Marvin Schwartz.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move into probably the toughest category of competition in drag racing in the United States. This is Run Tough Eliminator competition. Every machine in this competition turns at least 1250 or quicker.
Hurst 23 Ford T-Bucket through the traps in the other lane. Certainly can't give him an elapsed time on that one. It would be almost impossible to do. We'd even hate to guess at it. I know he spent about 15 seconds spinning around down there. So there you go. Jim Broadhurst in the spectator lane after starting in the tower lane.
Well, Billy, he really did some job of hanging on to that machine, got it all straightened around. Didn't seem to be too upset with himself. Straightened it out, took it down the other lane, and I'm sure he'll get back there and figure out what's wrong with it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move into the quarterfinal round of 8 of the Super Pro Stocks.
This quarterfinal round of 8 features the 8 quickest cars from the qualifying round up for their first elimination. In lane 1, it's the Bill White, Mike Ross entry from Hammond, Indiana. A car owned by Joe Satmary, sponsored by Van Sinnes Auto Parts, 73 Camaro. He qualified number 7 at 976, 147 miles an hour.
In the Tower Lane, Kenny Perry and Uncle John Bay's machine from Lockport, Illinois, sponsored by John Bay's Used Cars, the 1973 Camaro. Kenny Perry qualified in at 954, 147 miles per hour.
Spectator lane entrant, Billy White, Tower Lane, John Bay's car driven by Kenny Perry. Both of them are about ready now. Kenny Perry bringing the car up to the starting line. Lane number 1, Bill White down there apparently has a problem with that Camaro. He lost fire in it. And we'll have to wait momentarily and see. They're telling him to cut it off. I believe he lost something in the engine. It looks like moisture is gathering underneath the car in lane number 1. So the Tower Lane, Kenny Perry down there set, and we'll get the odd man run here in this Pro Stock competition.
Kenny Perry going down, getting the odd man run in the Tower Lane. And he stops the computers at a tough 978 with a top mile per hour of 144, staying right in stride, Billy.
Definitely running well, the Kenny Perry Uncle John Bay's machine. The Joe Satmary Camaro now hooked up down there to the tow strap, and they get ready to tow off the racetrack. Bill White. What a tough break for Bill. The car was running well coming out here today, and they've only had this car out twice now. Already have the car running 960, so they should be very, very tough competition for everybody else in Pro Stock. And once again, that 10-foot tow strap is like 50 miles long. We now continue, ladies and gentlemen, with the quarterfinal round in Pro Stock Eliminator. Up to the bleach burnout area, spectator lane will be Frank